Okay, guys, it's Thursday, the 5th of February. Nice day, not a lot going on, but you can see the area there, that open space. This is Capitol, no, this is the Greenfields Green or Commons. And generally on that space you see in front of you there's normally tents and the market traders. Certainly there'll be, I should think they'll probably set up shop tomorrow, which is Friday for the weekend. There'll be a whole collection in a kind of U shape of these trading tents, big white ones, and they'll be there with music. Sometimes they have live bands, certainly weekends they have live bands, and I'd imagine this weekend is probably going to be the same as every weekend. It's a great, should we say, a social collaboration of the Greenfield community to set this up. And these places work well when you've got different people from different countries or travelers coming through. It's a lovely little hub actually, and I find it interesting that just to come here and spend maybe an evening, or actually, to be honest, just around the corner there's a food hub, another food hub, but it's like it's a truck fest. And there's always, every single evening from about 4 o'clock onwards till about 10 o'clock in the evening, they're up and running. They've got DJ music in the central area compound, but they've got a range of foods and drinks and desserts and, you know, basically anything you need to eat is generally there. It's about, I'd say maybe about 15 of these trucks are all set up on ramps, and they just, people cook from them and eat and do whatever, but it's brilliant. So anyway, today I wanted to have a little chat about things that can irritate when you're living in the Philippines, and I might have done this last year, this video, but I wanted to bring it to the forefront again. In the majority, the Philippines really is quite a nice place, you know. It has all the localities, it has the weather, it has the people who are generally very friendly in the majority of cases, and you can always find yourself sitting randomly in any place and people will come and sit next to you and you can have a discussion, a dialogue. You would have no problem integrating with people and talking to the social area. It's very easy, very, very easy. So things that can annoy and be very frustrating, or just outside of the norm that we would consider as Westerners, right? For example, one that gets to me every time. Every morning I wake up, downstairs, but adjacent to my building, there's an old woman. She's got like a shack, and the shack's made of like wood and just like a plywood over the top, tarpaulin. And she's got about 10 to 15 dogs, and she seems to just find stray dogs and she keeps them in this kind of open area, and she sleeps in there with them. And she just, if you look at her closely, she's just withering away. She's like, I think she's so frail. She's probably about 6 stones, if that. She's got to be in her late 60s. And she's doing it in a way, I guess she has these animals around her for companionship. And for her, it's like communicating, though it's not human to human, but it's like it's that trajectory of having something around you that you can take care of, and you kind of like relay with them. They show, you know, friendliness, and they're there. And animals they don't demand anything, do they? Some food, that's it. She's also got like 3 other cats. She's collected some cats as well. She's like a modern day sanctuary for these animals. Anyway, I digress. But every morning, I don't know what the reason is, every morning about 5:30 to 6 o'clock, all these animals will just go into a crazy barking session for like half an hour. Whether it's the time that people walk past in the morning, going to work, or maybe it's some kind of like special delivery or something, because where she is backs on to a factory, or at least some kind of a, what do you call it, I suppose a company that makes bread. And I guess that the delivery drivers come and they collect their bread shipment and then they're off, like 6, 7, 8 vans. But every morning for half an hour, these dogs go bananas. It drives me crazy. It's a wake-up call, but it's not the ones that you want. Okay, that's something I've been dealing with for the last year here, actually. The other thing I noticed, just as soon as the dawn breaks to as late as 11 o'clock at night, we've always got people on motorbikes. And these motorbikes, they've fiddled with the exhausts. They've removed the baffles. They put bigger exhaust on it that makes noises, either like, sounds like a fart. It literally does, sometimes it sounds like farting. And others are just high-pitched noise. It just wee. It's like having a hairdryer stuck to your ears. Here's one. That's reasonable. That's nothing compared to ours. But they seem to have this thing about noise. And I can only boil this down to one thing. Noise as a youngster, as a teenager, is acceptable. You imagine when I was young, you want to have a little old car, you kind of put the engine on, you want to make a bit of noise, and it's all kind of attraction. You want people to notice you. Here is on another scale, it's on a grand scale. Everybody, from the young guys through to the older guys driving the tuk-tuks, the three-wheelers. There's another idea. Everybody likes noise. This is a guy on a motorbike. He's a delivery driver, and he's got a big speaker plugged in underneath his seat, and that's plugged into his Bluetooth. So along the road, they just turn this thing up so loud that it drowns everybody else out. And you think you got 5 or 6 of these people sitting at a traffic light with that noise, nobody hears anything. But it's a scene. It's like a social acceptance or an omittance to being sociably acceptable. Anyway, again, the motorcycles, the exhausts are all loud. I'd say 70% of this extremely loud, designed. I don't think the bikes are bought that way. They've just made adjustment. They've done DIY fixtures to it. And maybe even some of the companies like the Yamaha, the Suzuki, Hondas, you can go to the shops, the repair shops, and buy the exhausts that I think they sell in the Philippines specifically to cater for this kind of mentality of noise. They know the people like noise, so they sell them the upgrades that they can plug into their bikes, their cars, even the cars, that gives them this noise. And it's just awful. So you could be sitting in a quiet spot, they come racing up and down. You're sitting in your room, in your office, or in my dormitory, in my apartment, and you're downstairs, you'll hear this. You can be on the 10th floor, 40th floor, you hear these guys are racing up and down. And they have this way like kids. They keep revving it. They'll be sitting downstairs and you think, why? You know why? It's a mental state. It's a format that's acceptable. And to me, it comes down to a simple solution that these people, they lack self-confidence. They lack the authority to understand themselves. They just need to be seen, to be heard. I would say it's almost for me, it's like a woman. It's that woman feminine mentality of having to be acknowledged, validated. They need to have that attention. They're attention seekers, right? And this comes through the men. I mean, most of these bike riders are guys. They've got girls as well, but it's normally the guys with the noisy ones. So there's something to be said for that feminine aspect of the Filipinos or Filipina, is that the guys have low self-esteem. And for them, this is a way of attention seeking and seeking validation through the noise. What they're forgetting is everybody does it means what? It becomes the norm, and the norm becomes boring. That's the second thing that's irritating. The third one is I'm seeing here, certainly in this area of Manila, everybody, especially the guys, they're so simpy. They are so simpy. They walk around push chairs like you would have a young child, you know, a toddler, and they'd have dogs sitting in them. The dogs are not just sitting in them, the dogs have got paws, gloves. They've got gloves on the dog's paws, pink, green, yellow, whatever, you name your color, they've got them. And these dogs will be tied into this walking pushchair, and they'll push them everywhere around. It's obviously a fad. It's obviously another bike. It's obviously something they find great desire in, and they have to apply their so-called indulgence into these animals. And most of these guys have got a partner. It could be a girl, it could be another guy, which in the case is mostly around here, yeah, more like trans or gay people. But even the guys with girlfriends, they've got the same thing. They've got the hook in their mouths to follow the West. It's the kind of like you see in America, the women walking down in LA, or they're walking down in Florida, and they've got the girl on the lead, the dogs on the lead, and they've got them dressed up in these stupid clothes, like human clothes, with shiny things and bows on their hair. You know, they've got special lights around their neck, and it's just sick. But for me, they seem to be happy with it, and they treat them like children. They treat them like children, these animals. Okay, so that's the other thing. Everywhere I go, I've seen this. The other things are, when you're in a shop or you're doing something, people have this mindset to just always talk loud. You could be trying to have a conversation with somebody, and they come and stand next to you, and they'll be loud on their phone, or they'll be talking loud with the next person they're talking to in a group or 2 or 3 people. There's this crazy mentality that you have to talk loud to be noticed, to be something, to be validated. We're back to the validation scenario again. They cannot just do things in a normal way, or at least what we would consider socially acceptable. There's always this kind of like perceived idea to want to stand out. They want to stand out. They want to be noticed. They want to be validated. They want to feel special. And this special thing comes from a weak mind, comes from a weak perception of themselves. That's the third thing. What else is there? Oh, yeah. The guys here seem to be very weak. If you look at the guys walking with a girl, she's in control. She's constantly in control, dictating what happens, deciding what happens, planning everything, controlling where they go, standing out. When she says something, you can see the guy backs down. This effeminateness in the men must stem from the high volume of women having children in the Philippines without a father. And without a father figure, you've got no guidance. You've got no strength or masculinity in it. And I will say this in a very kind of tongue-in-cheek way, actually, quote-unquote masculinity. The men here, I mean, in the majority from what I've seen, don't seem to be masculine. They're just guys who make women pregnant and then they're off. And there must be a percentage of them that have that kind of, should we say, that masculine attention that women go for, because women will always seek out the guy who seems to have his act together, who's either very arrogant, brash, he has a car, he has a motorbike, he may have some money. So they go on those values. Their metrics are very limited. Nothing to do with stoicism, nothing to do with intelligence of the guy, just that he acts masculine. So if he acts or portrays himself in a masculine way, the women seem to chase that. Whether he actually brings anything to the table other than that, is another story, and I think this is where most of these women end up. They follow a feeling that the guy has something that every other woman like, but after they've been with him and he's banged them and they've got kids, the guy walks away because he doesn't want to hang around. He wants to play. He wants to go and find somebody else. And I had this discussion a few days ago with he was a bus driver, actually a van driver, and I was sitting in a little restaurant, and 3 or 4 came in and we were chatting and laughing, and I was saying, so you drive around a lot? And the guy says, yeah. He says, I said, so you must be married then, don't you? You must have a couple of kids. He says, no, I don't want to get married. He says, I'm a man. I just go out and meet women. I just make babies, but I'm a man. This is what we do. And I looked at him in stark revelation. He nailed it. He nailed it. This is the mentality, and I think in general, of the Filipino men. They don't want a family, really. Not really. I mean, when they're tied into it through some other means, yeah. But they just want to play the field. They don't want the responsibility, because most of them don't seem to have the capacity. They don't have the capacity. They don't have the plans. They don't have the objectiveness to do anything with themselves. They just want to play their life today. What happens tomorrow happens. And that's where, in the majority of cases, I've seen guys as I've traveled around the Philippine Islands with that sense of irresponsibility. They don't want to take on the responsibility of looking after a family and a child, given the choice, and they'll do everything they can to run away from that. So that's the 4th one. I can't think of another one, Joe. I have thought of others before, but I haven't. But yeah, on a good side is that to be able to walk around and talk to people randomly is good. And I know this with guys, you can do that more with guys. With girls, they're very much picky. You have to have a certain way you look. You have to have a certain place that you sit, dress a certain way. Because I think in majority, you say something to women, certainly the ones I'd say like 30 upwards, they've got this kind of like, I will only talk to you if I see something that's important that you can give me. You must be able to give me something. It's almost like an extraction factor. If they don't see that extraction in you, if you're stoic and you don't show them that they're likely to get something from you, be it your skills, be it your attention, be it your money, be it your advice, be it your experience, whatever it is. If they don't see something in you in a matter of minutes, they'll be gone. It's total extraction on a really major scale here. So that's something I noticed. I mean, I spoke to many girls and guys, and the ones that I managed to talk to that seemed to be what's called resilient or receptive to talk, certainly the girls are the younger ones. They're more inclined to be more open to talking in general sense about anything. I'd sit in the park and I'd talk like for hours with some guys or girls, and these are types that really, maybe Gen Z, you know, I think they are in majority, but got a helicopter flying overhead. It's a noisy place when it comes to certainly the Manila and the Cebu places. When you go into the islands, it's different. So this is just an idea of how the city operates. There's always something going on. So yes, these younger, I would say like teenage up to like 2021s, they are much more receptive to talking to you, just because they're also trying to open their opportunities to learn English or to see what it's like, that they want to find out something. They're traveling abroad, maybe they want to go abroad, maybe they have plans to find a job abroad, or they work in a call center or something like that, or the teenagers in school, they want to study something but they're not quite sure what to study. Business, but business what? You know, is it IT? Is it HR? Is it marketing? And they pick your brain for this kind of stuff, which is very good. I think this is nice to see that the youngsters want to find out more about the outside world, because that gives them a better situation for being informed, and the more informed they are, the better choices they can make. Really good. So that's it pretty much, guys. I just wanted to bring this to the forefront because if you're traveling here, you need to have some idea about what you're going to face. And you are going to meet these circumstances in different islands. On different islands, you'll find it works differently. There's much more of one thing or another. Here in the big cities like Manila, Cebu, I think you'll find it's more focused. It's concentrated because it's obviously built up and stuff like that. So guys, that's pretty much it really, but I hope you've learned something from this and that you can put it to use should you come here or prepare to come to the Philippines. Chris in Manila, have a great day and a great weekend.